Hello, this is ArtsyWisdom. Thank you for coming by. My name is Diane. We are in the midst of a big transition in more ways than one. We are leaving Canada for the winter and we're going to Arizona. The Pluto is moving into Aquarius this month from Capricorn for the last 20 years. And our election is coming up, also another big shift. So lots of big changes. I know ours isn't quite as heavy duty and big as the other ones, but okay, here we go. I am going to do some politics today. I have been MIA a little bit because we've been getting ready. I've been doing a lot of packing, running from thing to thing, and so the bags under my eyes are a real thing. Sam, I have been getting some images I wanted to share with you about Mr. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and the valley that I see. I've seen it before, and I wanted to share those images with you. I'm also going to look into some of the Senate races, Cruz versus Allred, Gallego versus Lake, Tester versus Sheehy in Montana, and Nebraska, Dan Osborne versus Deb Fischer. I also wanted to look in Kamala Harris's energy and what she's perceiving, how things are going. Today's her birthday. I don't know when you're going to see this, if it's Monday the 21st, but I'm recording it on the 20th and it's her birthday. I have a couple of friends that have really good friends that are today, not the same year, but so I find that maybe I'm in simpatico with Kamala Harris. And then I'm also going to get into Trump's health because I see something is happening in the campaign. And I noticed this before when I did that real short video recently. There is something going on where they are protecting him in some way. I'm going to get in his energy and I'm going to look from his perspective. If you haven't been here before, I see visions of different things. I get into people's energy remotely and I see situations as, you know, on a timeline to see how they're going to occur. And yeah, and I'm also going to look into the state. So I also wrote this down, so that's why I'm checking my notes. The election shenanigans in Georgia, if that's going to make a difference. Arizona, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Florida. And I think that was it. Oh, I wanted to check with to see if anybody is going to pop up. So I'm going to do it a little different way. I have my crow cards. I got the same lady who does my crow tarot. This is MJ Cullen Lane, and she did this other deck, and it's more crows. I am all into the crows. Crows are chatting with me. And up here, I've been noticing a lot of magpies. A lot of magpies that are talking. And birds are messengers. They fly in the air and they have to speak to each other to let everybody know where they are. Everybody meaning the other birds, and they talk back and forth. Otherwise, they're quiet. So I look to them. They're related to the air signs and to all that information, communication. I'm going to look into that. All right. Well, I hope all is well with you guys. I think it's going to be a good next month. All right, let's get started. All right, let's get started. First of all, I have a little rosé. Here's to you guys. Thank you for coming by. I forgot to thank you. All my new subscribers, if I have any, those of you who come back and give me comments, and my viewers, I love all of you guys. I really appreciate it. Cheers to you. It's a Sunday, so I'm imbibing. All right. So I'm going to start off with the Senate races. Just quickly, though, before I do that, Stephen Miller, he's the architect of Project 2025, and I didn't mention this on the opening. And he always reminded me, in a past life, I do believe he was like, I think his name is Goebbels. He just looked like him. And I want to bring light into the world, but I also want to call out things when I see them. And I do believe he had something that he didn't finish in that lifetime, and he's here to finish it in this lifetime. And it's like that kind of a racism quotient, that he still carried this karmic pattern that he's carrying with him. So if I'm in his energy, I see him, like, from my viewpoint, from Stephen Miller, he's very structured. He has a plan. He feels like if he can explain it the way people could understand it and convince them, and I think he really does think it's the right thing to do. I don't think he thinks of it as a democratic thing. I think he thinks of it as creating a world that is right. It's right, and that's meaning for him. It's right. He is very he's very skewed. Like, I see his life as, and I feel like he's like this. I know that's kind of a strange comparison, but like a ladyfinger, which he has no substance. A ladyfinger just soaks up, when you make tiramisu and you put a ladyfinger and you soak it into coffee or ramen, you put it in there and you put the mascarpone cheese and everything and the mascarpone and the cream. He's like the ladyfinger before you do anything to it. So without all the additional stuff, he's like vacuous. It's nothing, like empty. And that's the feeling I get. But he wants to create this whole world that's right. And it really, I think, comes from a past life. I don't think it's this life. I think it's from before. And I know he found a wife, which is interesting. I don't know how that worked. But he's very determined. If I'm in his energy, he's very determined, and he really feels like he's doing the right thing. Just so, spoiler alert, they're not going to get in. Trump isn't going to get in. Before I continue on to this, he's not going to get in. Harris is going to win. So there'll be some disappointment. See, Levy. He's not going to give up, though. Stephen Miller will not give up. He'll probably go to his death continuing this plan. I feel like I don't know if he's written books, but I feel like he's going to write lots more. Maybe that's Project 2025 that I'm thinking of. But he's going to write these manifestos, what he believes, just saying. And he'll make a lot of money. He's going to do a lot of speeches, and he's going to make a lot of money. Okay, so I'm going to, first of all, get into Kamala Harris, because it's her birthday. And she's 60 today. She is so much more energetic. I don't know how they do this. They go through these campaigns, and so exhausting. I just, how does she keep up the energy? But if I get into her energy, and I wanted to see what she sees, her goals, how she feels she's doing, I feel like she sees the entire country in front of her. And I do still see her as all these root vegetables that are on a tray, that are caramelized and delicious and hearty and good. And it's actually fall, so it's those kind of winter fall vegetables: carrots, squash, sweet potatoes. I feel like that's her natural world. And so when she looks at the United States, she looks at it in a larger sense. I know she has to treat every state differently because they all have different, she wants to win all the different states. But for her, I see her seeing the United States as one large blank slate, in a way. Not blank slate, it's not the right word. It's a little golden. And she sees it all as a possibility. I don't feel like she thinks she's 100% going to win. I do feel like she's very confident, but I don't feel like she knows 100% she's going to win. Sorry, I keep looking over there. She's I see her up the right arm bringing Tim Walz with her, like he's dragging him like a little brother. She's bringing him with her. And she sees this whole situation, or her whole campaign, is she definitely sees herself as an underdog. She doesn't feel like it's in the bag. She also feels like there's a lot of people against her. Obviously, yes. But it's like there's sneakiness and behind the scenes and backstabbing and cheating and um, but she really does feel that she wants to do the best for the American people. She really does. She's authentically does that way. It's not a game or it's not a just a slogan. She really does feel that way. In the past, I haven't thought she was that authentic. Way many months ago, before she was chosen as the candidate or the for the Democratic Party, but she learned so much under Biden. She's actually learned so much how to um, be in this position as vice president, and then ultimately she watched him, she studied him as a president. So I feel like, as I see the timeline, the election, let's go into that valley like I mentioned. Okay, so this valley that I saw, this vision, and I saw it the last time, in the past, there were lights flickering up of the American people, um, sending out these beautiful positive energy, connecting with God, having faith that we will be recover from this negative divisiveness that has been the new norm. Um, and as time has passed, I've seen this top layer, necrotic, dead stuff being removed, and underneath are all these people, or all this healing raw energy. And then now I see them as all this crowds of people. In the last video I saw, there's just massive amounts of people voting for her, and it's very ground level, low, meaty ants, like just a tons of millions of people, just simple American people, nothing flashy, just their one vote. And it's just so many. And I see them going through the election, and it's overwhelming. So now in this valley, I see this top layer gone and millions of people. And from above, you see them like kind of ants. And in the past, I saw Donald Trump as this light balloon thing that's blowhardy. But there's so many people. And I got in this crowd, and it's so crowded. So I feel like there's going to be so many people, more people voting than they can imagine. I think it's going to be one of the most high percentage of voting citizens, or high percentage of citizens voting ever. And they're all going to, even more, I think, than Obama when he, in 2008. So I think it's going to be almost to the point of astonishment. People are going, oh my God, I can't believe this many people. And so the Republicans are over here. They're just going to get pushed. The valley is getting pushed, or the Republicans are getting pushed out of the valley. And all this light and this light, meaning these people that are kind of blowhards and blown up, and they're over there. And in the past, just as a side note, I've seen him trying to get out of the country before the election. And I'm not going to get into Jack Smith's brief and all the recent paperwork that he's filed and that Judge Chutkin has allowed, put public or made public. I'm not going to get in that in this one, but I do feel like, well, let me go back to, I'm sorry, I'm distracted. So Harris, she's very low key, like humble. I don't think she absolutely knows she's going to win, but she's definitely going to win. There are so many people going to vote for her. They're going to come out from the woodwork. All the women, all the young people that have never voted before, Taylor Swift fans, even, uh, Kelsey fans or whoever, they're going to come out and vote for her. I do feel as if, in regards to Trump leaving, let me get back into his campaign. I see him and I get into his energy. He is confused. It's not quite confused. It's like he doesn't, I guess that is confusion. He doesn't know where he is. He doesn't know how to proceed. It's like there's a cloud and he's not, he leans on other people. I feel like he's really leaning on others to help him know what to do at this point. And he was talking about he doesn't want Detroit to get like Detroit and other things. And it's like when your grandfather or somebody older, is in the assisted living and they're getting to that point where you're like, oh, that's where he's at. I think he's at that point. Even though he says really horrible things, he's at that point. And I said this like last year, after the election, it's going to be so obvious and he's going to go downhill pretty quick. One, the stress. Two, the impact of his court appearances and all the convictions that he's going to get, convictions he's going to be sentenced for. And he's going to be, it's overwhelming and he's stressed out about it. I think a lifetime is going to has accumulated into his brain right now. It doesn't seem like he ever backs down, but at this point, I feel like the lifetime is accumulating in his brain. He will, if I'm looking at his, he still thinks that he's got it in a way because he's so cloudy. He's needing other people to help him see, but his health, I've seen this before. I think he's going to live to be like 85. How do I know? I don't know. But I just feel like he's going to live a long time, much longer. But I think he's definitely going to get dementia, or he already is in the first stages, and an Alzheimer's eventually. Nobody likes that. Nobody, and I do feel like his family will barely, like even his children, his sons, Don Jr., Eric, I see them kind of just peripherally, like they're not really, after he loses, really not going to pay much attention to him. And Ivanka and Jared are way gone already. He doesn't understand. He's very I'm hearing the word confused again, so I guess it is confusion. He's confused, and he has moments of clarity, brings up all those old statements, all those old phrases, all those old catchphrases and all those things that he used to say in the past. That's why he gets stuck and says old names like Obama or Hillary Clinton or something like that, or Nancy Pelosi. And that's why they're keeping him sequestered. He's tired. And the more tired he gets, the worse he gets when it comes to phrases and things he can't answer questions. He can't bring to mind any arguments that he wants to make about, like he did with that Bloomberg interview about Google and different things. He just goes off on these tangents. He's not well. He really and truly is not well. And we're seeing him at this transition period. I mean, it's been transitioning, but we're at that kind of a critical point. And the campaign is keeping him away from the cameras and any really big contrasts, so that people can't see that. I'm sympathetic to people that have aged, that, you live a life and everybody deserves to live their end of life quietly and peacefully. But somebody told me this once, a friend of mine or a nurse friend said, there are elderly people, and this sounds kind of harsh, but there are elderly people in assisted living or nursing homes get zero visitors, right? Maybe they haven't had children, or maybe their siblings are gone or whatever, and they have no family, but sometimes they've made a life for themselves that has alienated everybody. So you wonder if that will be him. I don't think so. I think he'll still have people coming to him because he's got a kind of a reputation. But it's like that. I feel like he's created this end of life that's negative and sad. And I'm sympathetic to that, honestly. I really am. Okay, so let's move on. Senate races. In the past, I've seen Ted Cruz as the winner of Texas against Colin Allred. When I look at Texas from Cruz's perspective, I see like he feels like he has the whole state and he has all these wealthy donors. And in the past, Allred had these people that were just kind of over there, small, non-inconsequential. But Ted Cruz had all these heavy oil money donors or whoever, tech people. So he felt really confident. But that's his perspective. When I look from Texas citizens' perspective at him, I feel like Colin Allred is much larger, but Cruz is still, you know what? I did see Ted Cruz as a tiny piece of cheese in the corner that's all dried up. You know how it gets shiny and kind of sweaty and cheese is yucky. It's like that. I think his time has come and it's over and it's stale. Colin Allred is kind of sweeping across Texas from the west to the east. And I don't know why that is, but that's the feeling I get. So I think by the time the election comes, it's going to be close. I think money is so huge in Texas. I can't call it, but I mean, I'm going to say Allred actually might win. Before I thought Cruz would win, but now I see Allred might actually push him over. I'll check in with that later. All right. Gallego and Ruben Gallego and Kerry Lake in Arizona. Ruben Gallego is going to win. There we go. I don't even have to. John Tester and I don't know Sheehy's first name. I don't remember what his first name. Tim. He's a ex-military guy, but John Tester's in a Republican state and he's a Democrat. But he's been in that position for many years, like a decade, I think. Very close. Tim Sheehy looks darker, more rich, more fertile. John Tester seems less hardy. In my picture, I see light colors and I think Tim Sheehy might actually beat him. Nebraska, Dan Osborne versus Deb Fisher. I know zero. I get emails every day from all these people. But Dan Osborne, Nebraska, I feel good. Whenever I say his name, I feel good. I feel like he'll win. I think he'll win. I don't even have to look at that very hard. And the election shenanigans in Georgia. I know the Supreme Court said, no, you can't. Or the judge in Georgia said, no, you can't change the rules this late in the game. And in the past, I thought I saw Trump winning Georgia. I'm going to check in now. I know they had a huge turnout for early ballots and early voting. It's still very close. At this point, I do see Kamala Harris winning Georgia. Now, when it comes to the ballot boxes and all the fighting back and forth, there will be some court cases. There'll be a lot of people filing cases against. Actually, no, you know what? I thought that would be the case. Now that I'm hearing my voice say that. I know that sounds weird. I think the something is going to change in the system. I don't know how to explain this. So instead of saying we're going to file a lawsuit to have it recounted, which yes, they have every right to do that. But there's something that this election commission that appointed themselves basically want to do. Of course, they were not. The judge said, no, they can't do that. Then they'll appeal. There's something that now is unable to move forward. And in the past, I saw him winning, Trump winning Georgia, but now I see that Harris will win. She's part of that. That's part of that big crowd in the valley. Yes, I think she'll win. Okay, Arizona. Gosh, coming from Arizona, Trump's supporters down there are super vocal. There's flags on every corner, people, trucks honking, everything is crazy. I feel Harris will win Arizona. Michigan, Harris will win Michigan. Pennsylvania, Harris will win Pennsylvania. I just threw Florida in there just for shits and giggles. Trump will win Florida. Nebraska. I know it's not a big state. It's a very red state, Nebraska. I see Harris winning. Could be wrong. I've been wrong before. I think that was it. And I just want to say thank you again. I think that is it. So if you guys have any questions, ultimately in the end, Harris will win. I feel like we're all witnessing, we're all part of this big shift. It's historic. And we're going to look back and like the 60s, that big shift. And we're like, wow, how did that happen? And yes, there was a feeling in the air, and that's what's happening now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming by. Thank you for sharing and liking and subscribing. I appreciate it so, so much. You guys take care.